Good evening and welcome to Real Talk on SABC 3. The stage is yours. There is excitement in the air as we get ready for another local movie release. It's all because of a South African neo-Western film. Yes, I said Western, South African, all in one sentence, that has everyone talking in anticipation. It's been described as a gripping work of art with breakthrough performances by cast members. Variety magazine wrote that it commands so much attention, it's almost too entertaining for its own good. Now, this is a good problem to have. Later on, actors Hamilton Dlamini, Zethu Dlomo, and Vuyo Dabula join us as we get ready for the release of Five Fingers from Marseille, happening this Friday, the 6th of April. But before that, most of us go through our lives with the intention to become the best versions of ourselves. But a lot of us don't know how to begin the process of self-improvement. The person who arguably best embodies the principles of being good is His Holiness, Tibetan monk, the Dalai Lama. Today we're getting some insights into the sacred philosophies so well exemplified by His Holiness, as well as learning about the 60th anniversary of the Tibetan people's struggle for freedom and justice. We begin our conversation with a man who, after 25 years spent in the corporate world, found himself unfulfilled, even though he was the managing director of a successful advertising agency. Please welcome to Real Talk, founder of the adventure coaching company that helps individuals such as yourself and myself on their personal development, Classy Vessels.
Hello, Anele.
How are you?
Good evening. All right, yourself. Nice to be here.
You know, you're very zen, hey? It's like nothing can bother you. Is this what happens when someone decides, I'm going to be happy?
You can't see inside.
I'm going to be happy, that's it. So I want to go back to the day before you stopped being the managing director, because the day before is always the one. Obviously, it's something that you're thinking about, that this is not my life, I'm not happy, I am successful in other people's eyes, but I don't see success in this. What's going through your mind and what makes you finally decide that's it?
Well, it probably took me 4 years to make that decision. I didn't just wake up one day and decide. But I was finding that although I love advertising, it's a great industry, we'll do it again, I was just ready for another story. I just looked at 30 years and I thought, I don't want this thing to define me. I started to ask myself bigger questions like, why am I here? What am I doing? How can I make the world a better place? And I didn't get the answers I like, so I decided to make a change.
In advertising, you say you like it, which is great, right? Also, advertising is exciting. You know, every day is different. Because we always think that people who make these decisions like yours are stuck in dead-end jobs that are the same every day, like an accountant, balancing the books, day in, day out. But advertising, you know, you're coming up with concepts, you're writing scripts, you're shooting things. So was it surprising for the people around you when you decided to make this decision?
Not really, but I just want to add something there. Every job can be exciting. Our creative abilities is not limited to just expressing it in writing or photography or something like that. Any job can be crafted to be made exciting. But no, it wasn't a surprise to the people. I was sending signals. I was telling my partners I'm going to move on eventually, and you know, so eventually did.
Did you have your plan?
Yeah, well, not really. They asked me what I wanted as a gift. So I said, buy me a return ticket to Kathmandu, which is the capital of Nepal.
That's the one right at the bottom of Mount Everest.
No. Well, it's about 150 kilometers, 200 kilometers.
Bit of a walk.
Yeah, it's a bit of a walk.
Just a bit of a walk.
So I spent almost 2 months in the Himalayas, and they realized that I want to come here. I want to bring people here to address the bigger questions of life. You know, the questions like, what is my purpose? How can I be happier? How can I have more meaning? How can I make the world a better place? How can I make a positive difference? So I decided to do that and started a small company called Street School and started taking people to the Himalayas, met up with the Tibetan people, yeah.
Classy, how do you know when you've got the answers? You know, you just went through a few questions. How do I make myself more happy? How do I bring purpose to my life? How do I bring change in people's lives? So these questions are there. How do you know when they've been answered?
Well, I know when I get tearful.
Oh, really? Yeah. Are you a crier?
Yeah,
you and me.
Yeah. So when I cry, I know that's the truth.
Okay.
I've hit a nerve. I've hit a moment of truth when I feel tears coming up. Yeah.
But I mean, do you cry when we win the rugby and things like that?
That also, when we sing the anthem, I cry. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I once heard Andre Agassi and his then wife Brooke Shields describing the moment in which they met Nelson Mandela, right? They say you feel his aura even before, you know, you turn around and see that he's in the room. The energy in the room shifts. You know, when you met His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, is that similar, the feeling?
Absolutely, you know, and I've been privileged over the last 6 years. I've done 27 of these journeys to the Tibetans and to Everest Base Camp in Nepal. And we've met him about 7, 8 times. Last year, we met him 3 times. We met him last week. I just came back from India with a group and we met him last week. And still, for me, and more so maybe for the people who meet him for the first time, you are actually, you're speechless. You cannot express yourself because he just comes with such a aura of peace and compassion and just he's just such a wonderful, soft person, you know. So it's I can't articulate it properly. Yeah, it's very special.
But when, okay, now here's the thing, because Buddhism is about quietening the noise in your head, right? Decluttering yourself. That's one of its intentions. Am I right in assuming that?
Yeah.
So when you meet, you know, His Holiness like that, and you realize, you know, you say to me, you can't even describe it with your own words. Doesn't that give you a certain sense of, oh my word, when am I ever going to be like that?
Yeah, you know, for all the perceptual softness around Buddhist philosophy, they're very rigorous in their analysis. They are very tough in analyzing mental construction, how the mind works. There's no pussyfooting. They are very, very disciplined and very hard in a certain way in controlling the mind. So it's not about necessarily making the mind quiet. It's controlling it, because it is when the mind is out of control that it runs in all directions. There's a little analogy that an uncontrolled mind is like a drunken monkey stung by a scorpion. It will run everywhere. Now, we live with what is called the monkey mind. We live with minds that run all over the show, and we can't control it. It's like a horse. So their basic premise is to control the mind. Once you've controlled it, it's like water that runs through a river. Once that water is controlled, you can shape it. Now you can move with it. Now you can control it. Now you can send it in directions that you like.
I need for you to repeat that. An uncontrolled mind is like a drunken, say it again, is like a?
Drunken monkey stung by a scorpion. Yeah, so it's wild. And it's like a wild elephant.
Yeah.
And they teach us how to control our minds so that we can just be quieter and become more compassionate and just be chill. So we just chill a little bit, you know, so just control ourselves.
And I mean, I think everyone, you know, is on the quest for happiness, right? I want to be happy. I want to be happy with myself. When I learn how to control the mind and, you know, get that river flowing and properly, is that when happiness comes? Do we know when happiness comes?
You know, I'm also involved with another initiative. I'm the chairman of the Viktor Frankl Institute of Logotherapy, which is it's a guy called Viktor Frankl who started a Western-style philosophy on how to discover more purpose and meaning in life. He was in the concentration camps. So according to that philosophy, the happiness or meaning comes when you do something for somebody or someone other than yourself. If it's all about me, you're going to run out of rubber. It's not going to work. If it's all about yourself, it's not going to work. An athlete, you have some actors here. If nobody's watching the show, why would the actor be there? If nobody's running the race, why would the guy wouldn't be so happy? He's only happy because other people are in the race. So, and when we do something for someone else, that's when we feel meaningful, and then we feel we've made a difference. Then when we feel good, and that can loosely be translated to happiness in this context is not the ha-ha happiness that I get at the pub with a beer. It's not that kind of happiness. It's a much deeper form of gratitude and joy for making a positive difference in the world.
Okay, quickly before we go to an ad break, but is there not a danger in being fulfilled by doing things for other people? Because then, you know, there are people like that where I just want to do things for other people so that I can constantly get the praise and the almost worship.
Very good point. That's wrong. No, very good point. His Holiness, in fact, has got a beautiful saying that he says, to be kind to somebody else is the ultimate sign of selfishness. Because if you're kind to somebody else, they're going to be kind to you and you're going to feel good.
Yes.
So absolutely, it's a two-way street.
Yes.
It's not, you can't just give. No, you must get something
yes,
also.
because you must be able to receive as well.
Absolutely.
Because that's where the happiness is.
No, it's not just one way.
Classy, you and I are going to be great friends. So this year, the Tibetan people are marking a series of events to thank nations around the world for standing by their struggle for freedom and justice. We find out more about the 60th anniversary celebrations after the break. Come back. No, you're not going anywhere. Welcome back to Real Talk on SABC3. The stage is yours. 2018 marks the beginning of the 60th year since His Holiness the Dalai Lama stepped on the sacred land of India. Tibet and India have a lot in common, as displayed through their geography, their history, the culture, and spirituality. The bond between the two is so close that His Holiness the Dalai Lama calls India the Guru and Tibet his Chela, while he calls himself the Son of India. To shed some light on the 60th anniversary celebrations is representative of the Office of Tibet in South Africa, Mr. Nodab Dorji. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I want to understand, why is it so important for us to celebrate the 60th anniversary?
Because the 2018 marks the 68 years of Tibetans coming into exile. And it all started actually in 1959 when His Holiness Dalai Lama and with him about 100,000 Tibetans have to leave Tibet, because Tibet was occupied by China, and then they have to leave out of country and come to India. And it was very kind of India to give a refuge to these homeless and very desperate people coming out of Tibet. So now it has been almost 60 years. And we want to actually thank all the people and all the government and supporters and people who love peace and justice, that after 60 years, we have been not really gone down into the history as a anonymous, dissolved into a mass of crowd, but have been able to stand upright and really contribute to the world, you know, in terms of knowledge generation, in terms of peace, in terms of dialogue, and also keeping our own culture, language, identity outside Tibet in a very vibrant way.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that, because for me, when I was sitting with the team and we're discussing this, I was thinking, it's so strange that you want to celebrate 60 years of being oppressed and told to leave, you know, your home soil. But when you put it like that, the fact that, you know, you could exist with your culture and your beliefs outside is why you want to celebrate it. And you want to thank people for not diluting you and just shoving you in the countries that you took refuge in and then get forgotten.
Yes. Yes. We have been able to really, along with keeping our own culture and system and value and unique culture vibrant, at the same time we have been able to keep our movement for Tibetan freedom alive. And this has helped actually the Tibetan spirit in Tibet very strong, despite the various policy that Chinese have used over the last 60 years, hot and cold, trying to really destroy the spirit of the Tibet. But they have failed. And the Tibetan spirits are very strong in Tibet as well as in outside, you know. So there is a vibrant and very strong Tibetan movement outside, and we are ready to continue it for the next another 60 years. That's
Classy, you know, when we look at Buddhism, is there a place for anger in it? Can you get angry? Is that allowed, or is that breaking the rules?
Absolutely. We're all human. Even the Dalai Lama says he gets angry. The trick is he doesn't hang on to it. There's a saying, you can entertain thoughts, but don't invite them for tea. So he doesn't invite anger for tea. He just gets angry and he lets it go. You know, but he's obviously much better than us in it. But no, you have emotions. The thing is controlling it and realizing the damage that anger can do. And the more you practice, the more you will let it go. I just want to add to something that Nodip said. You know, if you go to this Exile community, they're based in Dharamsala, which is a tiny little village in the hilltop, in the Himalayan hill, at the southern end of the Himalayas. Yeah. They've built schools, they've built hospitals, they've built medical institutes. They are so industrious in what they've done. They are a fully functioning community. They have a Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts, for instance. They have women rights movements. They have a fully functioning government with 7 different departments. They are a model of how to tackle a challenge like a free country peacefully.
Sorry to cut you off there. You know, the impression we get of Buddhism and Buddhist monks, and obviously His Holiness the Dalai Lama, is very simple, right? Not much is needed. So I don't see TVs and DVD players and the internet around. Yet he tweets. How do you merge the technology with the practice?
I think this Dalai Lama, I think is very clever. He's right for the time.
Is he on Instagram?
They've got Twitter. They've got mobile phones. They walk around with phones. They are 21st century monks. Yeah. So the technology is not the problem. The problem is how you use it and how you engage with it. So okay. No. And he's making, you know, he's got a saying that when you look at Buddhism, you need to look at Buddhist religion, which he says leave it for the Buddhists. Then there's Buddhist philosophy. The philosophy of Buddhist way of life is accessible to anybody, irrespective of your religion. Then there's Buddhist science. Every year they have a Mind and Life conference where they integrate the philosophical studies of the Buddhists with Western-style scientists to try and prove the benefits of mindfulness and how this can help cultivate a better life.
So I suppose none of the cell phones are made in China then?
They're not crossed with the Chinese. They cross with the Chinese government.
Okay.
So
had to sneak that one in there. Mr. Dorji, just in closing, and thank you so much for your time. This is such an honor for me.
Thank you so much.
You know, with compassion and empathy and patience, all of the things that His Holiness the Dalai Lama preaches, which one do you say stands out the most as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the hospitality that they've enjoyed around the world?
I think a sense of compassion, I think, what I would say, because Buddhist religion, actually, the basic philosophy is really the compassion, is the kind-heartedness, he says all the time. Is the basic of the Buddhism. And His Holiness has been traveling all over the world, you know, trying to solve that. The whole problem today we see in the world can be solved if we practice warm-heartedness and compassion. And now he says that today's modern education, we are teaching children about the material livelihood, how to really earn a livelihood. But we are not able to teach them the emotional health. And this is only possible through the teaching these children at a very young age the compassion, kind-heartedness. Because we have lost this. When we are a child, we always have to have the compassion of the mothers and parents to really grow up, you know, and emotionally and physically grow up as a child. You need the love and caring of the mother. But when we are grown up, actually, we lost that touch. And therefore, I think His Holiness' contribution, and he's traveling all over the world in the last 40 years, I think, and his interaction with the neurologists, I think he has found that I think we should now, there is need for the world to really embrace the warm-heartedness and compassion to leave a really legacy of peaceful world and world of dialogue in the next 21st century.
Mr. Dorji, thank you so much for your time. Classy.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time as well. I always like it when a new episode is born in a present one, because this is a discussion that we need to have. How do we teach our kids compassion? We're raising them, you know, they're growing up in front of our eyes, but how do you know that you're instilling compassion within your child? It's definitely a discussion that needs to be explored more. Once again, thank you so much to my guests, Classy Vessels and Nodip Dorji. Coming up next, South Africa meets the Wild Wild West in this one-of-a-kind local film. We've got the cast of Five Fingers from Marseille joining us next. Class. Welcome back. You with Real Talk on SABC 3. Listen to me. 5 childhood friends with a love for their town of Marseille want to protect it from colonial oppressive forces. So they band together and call themselves the 5 Fingers. But their childhood innocence gets lost after one of them, Dau, kills 2 policemen and is sentenced to 20 years in prison. 2 decades later, the town is under a new vicious threat in the form of the villain called Sipoko. And it's up to Dau to get the 5 Fingers together again for one last fight. Dramatic, ne? Take a look.
Kalong, who delayed it already. Ya ba tsona di tla di go tsema go. Kala ba iphaditsa ba re ke lefatshe la bo bona.
Kutheni usikhathalele kangaka Tawu?
Ke tlameha ba le matla Lerato. Lerato. Tawu! Hantle o khutletse. Ke ro ba leile ha o qeta hore kenya mathateng. Ha o qala wa bua ha o kenya mathateng ha.
Toropo e lokuluhileng. Ibodile ke sefolotsana. Ase mojondolo bona. Ola o mong fela. Jai janjanyana. Na re ka o tseba hore wena o mang.
Hamilton, and then? What's this thing now on my table here?
Yeah, hey, it came as a surprise. I didn't anticipate to get this because I know, I mean, every time my SAFTAs are on, I get nothing. So so at last I got it. Yeah.
Were you even doubting that you're good?
Yeah, I was not sure. Yeah, because I mean, we don't see things the same way. I thought, okay, well, so when they announced my name, geez, I thought,
You're like, huh? Is there another Hamilton?
Another, yeah. And I went to stage and received it, yeah.
Oh, congratulations. Well done,
Thanks.
well done, well done. I see you've been polishing it there every day.
Yeah, it's Kobezele, yeah.
Just at Aromat. So listen, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
7 years? 7 years in the making. Surely you start to believe that, like this SAFTA, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, 7 years. I was not part of that 7 years. Voyo started with the entire production, and there was a struggle to get the character that I'm playing, the character got spoke because I looked thin, and that guy is gigantic. So they were looking for somebody who was big, who could play and give that voice. And I came in for auditions, and yeah, they tried me, but the voice was not convincing. And I checked Michael Matthews looking at Sean Drummond, like, are we sure that he looks young and all that, yeah. But it happened after I released that voice, usually.
So you spent all of filming making sure your voice is like this?
We were shooting in the Eastern Cape at Lady Grey, so it was very cold. So when it's cold, my voice changes. It becomes more deep. And that's how it went.
Okay, let me take the 7 years question to you. I mean, the last time we spoke about this, but we didn't go into detail.
Yeah.
And every time I look at your Instagram, you hinting at this.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that maybe it's not going to come into fruition, this thing? It's possibly not going to happen. It's too long now.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I know it as a nature of the game. I think the industry basically is like that. I mean, I think, what's that animation with the green monster?
Avatar?
No, not Avatar. It's a tale. It's based on different Shrek. Yes. Shrek, it took him about 15. Yeah, Shrek, it took him about 15 years to actually, get to the actual from conception to actual principal photography. Yeah. So. Yeah, I understand it, that the industry to be that way. You get on board, and then you go on to do other things. You get married, and you have 7 children, and then shoot the movie.
And then when your kids are 21,
and then when your kids are 21, exactly.
What?
That's just you just have to have patience, like legendary patience. You just have to sort of wait. We hurry up and wait as well on set.
Zetu, can you please explain the French connection? Because Marseille is a French city, right? It's naturally a French place. Am I throwing you the deep end here?
They've been with this process for far longer than I have. Like,
she's
way longer.
Like last minute.
Last minute, 5 past. I joined the process 2 weeks into shoot.
Okay.
So it's like Marseille. I mean, Marseilles. What's Marseilles? Like, but yeah, I don't know what the connection is.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all those places. You remember we were colonized, and the Germans just gave names to the places they stole from our forefathers.
Yes.
Marseille, Paris,
yes.
Schwarzreneke, the Germans, the French, and that's it. So it's one of those places. So they've got the same mentality of oppress the black people and let's run their lives.
Which is basically the movie itself, right? Yes. This is what you're fighting. You're fighting the colonial oppression of the entire thing. But a Western then, I mean, do you not find it, because we watch Westerns, I mean, there are no Western people, there are no cowboys. Here in South Africa, you look around, you're like, so did you not find it difficult to reconcile to people, what a South African Western would look like?
Ooh, I think all around the world, people understand what a Western to look like.
Yes.
The setting, the location, just the harshness of just the environment.
Yeah.
We understand Westerns to be like that. We understand horses. Sotho people ride horses and what have you. They've got their guns and everything when they protect their farms or whatever. When they move around, it's still horses. You can't take that away from them. And that's the area. And I wanted to say that's why also we had to actually drive 7 hours from Johannesburg to a particular sport, because this is one sport that kind of represents, the Wild West.
Yes.
So I think based on those elements and those things, those boxes to tick, we were comfortable enough to say, okay, this is a Western. Yeah.
Zetu, it's been described as a gripping work of art. I mean, I was looking at these reviews where they were saying it's almost too good. I'm like, what an amazing problem to have. Do you feel like we are on the cusp of something amazing with this movie?
Definitely. I mean, it's about time also, like, we've got the actors, we've got the script writers, we've got the directors, we've got the sound technicians, we've got it. We've had it for a long time. In fact, so much that they've left and have to come back. You know what I mean? We've got the talent. So I feel like I would wish that we could stop being those people who are like, oh, this is so new and amazing for South Africa, as if we've been having it, you know what I mean? Like, we've been doing these things. But this is, honestly, this film is just going to open up a can of worms for the creatives in this country, from actors to writers to anyone, especially because we're using this genre that is not very common in our country, and yet it's such a uniquely South African story, And it was interesting when we were showing it in Toronto last year, how international audiences could identify with the film, but not identify with the film, and see another side of Africa that is not. So, but absolutely, the audio, the visuals, it's mind blowing, and people are gonna love it. They're gonna love it.
Five Fingers for Marseille is a project that took 7 years to make, and this Friday, I cannot stress this enough, it finally hits movie theaters. More with Hamilton, Vuyo, and Zetu after the break. Welcome back. You with Real Talk as we get a little taste of what awaits us this upcoming weekend. The movie Five Fingers for Marseille opens this Friday. We will saw the cast: Hamilton Dlamini, SAFTA winner, Zetu Domo, and Vuyo Dabula. I mean, I can no longer say your name without saying SAFTA winner.
Yeah, your prefix.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it works, yeah.
Even if you go to the post office now and they're like, yes, sir, yeah, the SAFTA winner would like to collect the post. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We've got a few WhatsApps coming through for you guys. Please, can you roll that first one?
Hello, my name is Marvin. I just wanted to know, why isn't that the marketing is so extensive? Like, we hardly see trailers on TV or anything like that. Because the first time I heard about the movie was when you interviewed Ntate Jerry Mufokeng wa Makgetha. But I haven't seen any trailers on TV. Why? Why is that?
Yo, I feel reprimanded, hey?
No, it's unfortunately, it's the budget. You know, South Africa, when they give you money, they give you a little bit. So it's budget, yeah. So,
I mean, looking at the trailer, which is absolutely gripping, right? All the money was spent on the movie, so you don't have money to now market the movie.
No.
It's a bit of a conundrum, don't you think?
Yeah, and we're volunteering. Everywhere we go, there's no money. We're supposed to be getting money from organizations, I mean, like NFVF and all that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened, yeah.
You're not scared of anything when Hamilton...
Why not?
Okay?
But it's fine, I'm ready. But somebody needs to say this.
Yeah.
These big structures, they must make up their minds. Because this is Five Fingers.
But I think also the industry, when you look at the industry in America and elsewhere,
yeah,
it's privately, it's, you know, these are outside companies, this is not the government.
Yes.
So I think what needs to do is just a change of mind and just, people need to see this is a viable sort of business. And I think that's where Five Fingers comes in. If it does well, then people get to see that, hey, actually, you know, this can work.
You know, I just, you know, touching on what you're saying about, you know, corporates in America being the ones who are the driving force. What we don't realize about Americans is the amount of money they put into Hollywood because they knew that it was beneficial for the goodwill of the country, right?
Yes.
So they came out of the Great Depression in 1939 and they thought, wow, you know, the country needs something to put them in high spirits to feel American again, right? And that's why they made those movies documenting their greatness. So if we can go to a place where we're playing your movies and we are saying, guys, you know,
this is who we are.
This is who we are, then I think that we can put marketing behind it. So when we talk marketing in movies, Zetu, what do we say? Outside of doing interviews with us, which thank you for your time, but what else should we be doing? Are newspapers supposed to be putting us on front pages? Are you supposed to be getting the radio stations should be leading their news bulletins with you guys? What should we be doing?
Pay us. We are your anything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, I'm just kidding. You, hey. But honestly, it does boil down to budget. So newspapers are putting us out there. Like we are on Real Talk with Anele right now. You know, we go on radio stations, but we also, it would be awesome for Mugai who just sent the voice note. When you've now seen the trailer on Twitter, on you know, share it. Word of mouth. Mawuthenga isinkwa Hamilton Epic and Pay while basascreama ukuthi SAFTA award winner usho ukuthi go watch naye usistars, you know, like, let's not take away the power and the annoying, it's annoying, but the power of flyers and, you know, like there's activations, there's so much we could do, but like because budget, you know what I mean?
But, there's another thing that I want to say, realizing that the government doesn't give us attention. Vuyo must take his money from generations and must take, let's put it together and tell our stories.
That's true.
For the little that you have, the little that you have.
You know how I got here?
Yeah, because the government is not prepared to do anything, it's fine. So they owe us nothing, that's fine. Let's put in our money and let's see what's going to happen as time goes on.
So Catching Feelings did 1.3 million. Ingleba grossed 1.9 million. Now, this sounds like it's a lot, but it's not. Now, when you hear these numbers, do you not get nervous about your own movie this coming weekend?
No.
Not a bit?
No.
Because this
one, it's a brand. We've become arrogant to a point whereby we're not in a hurry.
Yeah.
We've got moments, we've injected everything, energy, and watch the space.
Okay, so speaking of the moments, I want to play something from the director on what he had to say about this movie.
I play Dao on Five Fingers on Marseilles.
He brings a real complexity and conflict within the character. We cast all the young roles here in Lady Grey. None of them have actually ever been on screen before. The cast are doing such an incredible job of bringing the characters to life off the page. Like one punch and then I think let them pass through frame. Last one. The cast have really been bonding out here together.
What I've watched, there's subtitles and the language is predominantly Sotho, ne?
Yeah.
How is a white director directing people in Sotho?
She had to direct that one to me. Okay.
Ooh, there's a story, yeah! Mama wants to hear it!
No, there's no story. No, there's no story. There's no story. Look, Hamilton said something about injecting everything, into the performances. And I think, performances and emotions are universal. You can't fake that. So when you're working with that, then you can direct. But you've got to be, the trust between you and the person that's translating to you, that's helping you to keep track of the dialect, the dialect, yeah. They've got to be good. There's got to be an incredible trust between the two of you. So I think from the word go, everything was worked out even before we got on set. So it was just here, there, touch up, here, there, fix one thing here, but everybody wanted the thing to work. So yeah.
So when Anele, in South Africa, everything is written in English. So we translate. So yeah.
But the trust comes in when, you can't say upinze when you're trying to say you got shot, right?
Yeah. But you could be right. So it could be.
I didn't know that. We are showing us his childhood, yeah. All right, I want to know more about who we're going with. Are we going to go with Zethu's character? Let's go with Zethu's character. Let's learn more about hers.
I am playing the role of Lerato. Lerato is the daughter of Jonah. She's a very strong character, very, very conflicted. She's gone through a lot. She grew up with the Five Fingers. It's been a really great experience acting with all these wonderful actors and being surrounded with such great talent, great homegrown talent,
Zethu, how important is it for you to not be the damsel in distress, but not be so hard that we don't see any remnants of femininity in you?
Well, I mean, I think it's really important.
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing Lerato so much because I realized that women are made to think that in a man's world, you're weak. You need help. You need my help. You know what I mean? But what I realized also is that, like, I like to use with the film The Devil Wears Prada. Yes. She has to almost like strip herself of being feminine in order for her to succeed and to win in a man's world. But in this case, it's your femininity. That's what I walked away from this character with. It's your femininity that makes you strong as a woman.
That's the power.
Yes, that's the power. Because no, ask and then you know what I mean? Like, we have so much power as women. Like, there's strength. And I mean, God rest her soul, Winnie Mandela. Like, she was power. She was a lerato. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and then when I'm done arguing with the white man, I'm gonna go cook you a supper. You know what I'm saying? Because I still have the energy to do that. You know what I mean? But women, we are strong in our femininity. The minute we try to be like men, that's when we lose it. That's when
because you start as number 2.
Yes.
Because they'll always be number 1 at being men. So I don't see now you're trying to park your car in the park spot. I mean, come on.
Why?
So almost time for us to wrap up our conversation. But before we say goodbye, how well do our Western actors know their Westerns? Tumbleweed, tumbleweed, tumbleweed. And welcome back to Real Talk. If you're in the mood for heroes going up against villains, as well as action-packed gunfights, I'm telling you now, all displayed by a stellar ensemble cast, including the likes of Jerry Mufokeng Wamageta, Warren Masimola, then treat yourself to Five Fingers from Marseille this coming weekend. I'm deep in conversation with some of the stars of the movie, Hamilton Dlamini, Zethu Dlomo, as well as Vuyo Dabula. Hamilton, your character, Sipuku.
Yeah, Sipuku is...
Apparently dark. 2 Saturday nights put together.
Yeah, very dark. Wow. I mean, his birth was mysterious. He was born, his mother was struck by lightning, and he found his way out and he landed on planet Earth. And yeah, so there's no happiness there. So he brings darkness. He wants to take over and mess up everything that people have worked hard for. He's not there, he's not here for a change.
Just not a nice guy. Let's hear more from this dark guy.
What an experience. I hope South Africa loves this.
Did you ever dream as Sipuku? Just now, Hamilton, when you go home and you sleep and you wake up, you're like, yella.
No, Sipuku, he was born in Lady Grey when I was doing the film, and I left him there.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's no remnants, Uka, now, sharp.
Yeah.
You don't have a Tupperware of the character here.
I left his
that you packed. All right, let's learn about now.
That's funny.
I play Dau on Five Fingers from Marseille. It's all about innocence lost as a youth.
I'm Batman. We shake it Mona.
He gets involved in a situation as a youngster, protecting one of his friends.
How many times have you watched the movie?
Ooh, about six times now.
Yeah?
Almost 6, yeah.
And it's a classic?
For me, every time I watch the damn thing, I get emotional. For sure, 100%.
All right, so let's see how well these Western actors know their Westerns. Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna put a picture up of a Western movie, and you must tell us what the movie is. Nezethu, ne Hamilton, Nevuyo. Now, apparently, I'm supposed to give clues, but there will be no clues on this set.
Oh my God.
There will be no clues on this show. Yeah.
No, we are a team. We'll definitely say
Are you a team?
Okay, so we agreed, no clues.
Yeah.
You sure?
Okay.
Are you sure?
Okay, sure.
First one, roll it. Who that?
That's he's a famous
actor.
John Wayne.
John Wayne.
John.
It's not him. I can't see.
Are we close?
You are warm.
I can't see.
John. Get John Carradine.
There we go. Ping, 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 ping.
Gotta get some girls up here. Yeah.
Mara Hamilton. Hey, it's rough.
I can't see anything.
Next one. That's easy. Come on.
Eli Walash.
Huh?
Eli Walash.
Never.
That's not Leaf and Cleave. That's the good, the better, and the ugly.
Yes.
The good, the better, and the ugly.
Wait. Ramirez, you're right. Yes.
Ramirez.
Yes, that's 2 to the girls.
That's
Thank
2.
you, Lord.
2, eh? 2. Huh? But Vuyo helped you out. He did say the good, the better,
Yes,
and the
he
ugly.
did.
Okay, next one. That's easy.
The bodyguard from Beijing. Not from Beijing, the bodyguard. Kevin Costner.
Yes, but the movie?
Dances with Wolves.
Yes, Mara, you're not West Eastern. Yes. No, you are Western. Okay. Next one.
Okay.
This
is...
It's not Spur.
It's the makeup.
Oh, because of the feathers, yeah?
I think this is
I can't see
Blazing Saddles.
Hmm?
Yeah?
Isn't it Mel Brooks?
Is it Crazy?
Yes. Oh, yes. No, you're right.
Why, thank you.
Wow.
Whoa.
Sorry, I was looking at another...
No, darling, it's all right.
Has she seen the test? Okay, final one. I hope you're playing along at home as well. Hit it.
I think this is a setup, dog.
High noon, high noon, high noon, high noon, high noon.
Wait. American Western film produced by Stanley Kramer. High Noon.
That's it. Yeah. 5 million. 5 million.
Yeah, I could create it.
I'm at the top of the league.
I was about to say, Hamilton is not 5 million, it's 4-1.
Yeah, no, a whole SAFTA.
Yeah, a whole SAFTA winner.
Next time.
1-0.
Next time. I'll make
You didn't even make the derby.
No.
In group stages. Listen, we've got 30 seconds. One of you tell people why this movie is important to watch and why we need to break records.
A year or two, we must go out and support South African stuff. We are South Africans, we're telling our own stories. We need your support, South Africa, so please go out and represent.
This was shot by a South African cast and crew. No Americans. We've got our lead, Vuyo Tabula. So enjoy local talent.
Yeah, I think the production, everything is on par with like any big Hollywood film.
That I agree with.
So it just doesn't make sense why you wouldn't watch it. It's something else.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say go watch the South African movie. I'm going to say go watch this brilliant movie. Full stop. It opens this coming Friday, the 6th of April. Everyone, make sure you make your way to the cinema. That's all we have time for. Tomorrow, we talk about things that men don't like to talk about. They shy away from it. Men's health, which is why we're having those conversations with you as we turn our focus to all of the issues that men deal with when it comes to health. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Right now, Isi Dingo is up next. Please take your SAFTA.